Welcome back to the channel, guys. Spencer here for Berkshire Bass. Just wanted to give you guys, and kind of myself honestly, a little tournament recap, tournament season recap. Kind of all, I think it was, I don't know, 8 tournaments or so. So fished at BFL Northeast, MLF, Bass Fishing League in the Northeast Division. And then I ended up fishing 1 Toyota series for the Northerns. So that was pretty much what I fished. Obviously fished Berkshire Bass Open tournaments, and that was pretty much it. Probably a total of, I'd say, I don't know, 15, 20 tournaments, something like that. But yeah, I'm just gonna go through the schedule, let you know how I did in the tournament, what I, pretty much caught them on, and kind of a little bit of a mindset through the tournament. But yeah, we'll get this thing started. So first derby of the year was, I got a little deal on my phone down here telling me about, the tournaments, was mid-May, May 18th, down on the Potomac River. It was a BFL tournament. I freaking have learned to really like that place. Really love fishing there. Grass fishery, river largemouth, it's a bunch of fun. But in that derby, we ended up 13th out of 106. Had 14 and a half, so pretty good limit down there. Good tournament, super happy with it. Get the tournament season started off on a good note. But with that deal, it was pretty much one deal. It was a straight flipping deal. So that was a 1.5 ounce weight. Caught all my fish punching, I believe, on that 1.5 with that Gambler burner crawl. 1.5, 65 pound Cortland Master braid. And that's at Douglas DXC 711 6F. So 711 flipping rod, super awesome flipping rod, punching mats down there. Punching mats that did have spatter dock. So it's spatter dock with matted up milfoil up on that spatter dock, and caught a good bag flipping. I think I got maybe 6 bites all day, but they were all pretty much the right kind, so that was fun. Didn't get video for that because it was torrential downpour the whole day, so there was no way we were really going to run GoPros in that, and kind of fuss with them during the day and that. So yeah, it was a tough deal conditions wise. I think they bite a little better when it's a little nasty out down there, especially those northern largemouths. But it was a fun day flipping, and happy to have a good start to the tournament season. So that was that. Put that rod away. Second derby of the year was actually down on the Potomac again. That was my first Toyota series I ever fished, so definitely a step up in competition, that's for sure. It's a 2-day deal, so you're guaranteed 2 days, so obviously it's a cumulative weight. And then I believe the top 12 fish on day 3. Didn't end up making day 3. We ended up, day 1 we had a good day. So what did we have? Day 1 I think we had about 13 pounds. Yeah, we had 12-13 day 1, and we caught them on a buzz toad and punching. So we're actually not putting that rod away, but that frog bite got a little better, I think, as you kind of get into the summer. But we caught them on a buzz toad over the mats. I didn't video at all that tournament, but I might have. Yeah, I can drop a video right now. I'll drop one in right now of me catching one on a buzz toad.
Well, I just seen him to rip. You know what I mean? Where he
you didn't see the fish?
Yeah.
That's how you start this deal!
Good job.
Boom! Number 1, baby. Buzz toad down the hatch. Let's go! Throwing the white one. This is, the green yellow one. I don't really think it's a big deal, color wise, but throwing that on a 4 or 5 4-aught, yeah. Throwing a 4-aught hack attack flipping hook. Straight Texas rig. 50 pound Cortland Master braid, 50, a little less diameter, a little better for frogging in this kind of deal. Casts the bait a little better than that 65. High speed gear ratio reel, that's just a Daiwa. 8.3 to 1 Daiwa Tatula on that Doomsday. 7.6 heavy froggen rod. Really like this rod, froggen. Good tip, doesn't wear you out all day, but enough back here to, you know, drive that hook home on real long casts. But yeah, caught him on a buzz toad, caught a couple punching. Like I said, day one we were in a decent spot, had about 13 pounds. I think we were in like 70th place out of what? Out of 190 boats, 200 boats. So we were doing okay day one. Unfortunately, day two was not the same. Day two, we had weighed in two for 4 pounds, so two 2-pounders, 2 keepers, which was kind of disappointing day because I felt real good after day one. And I think I caught those 2 on a buzz toad again. I did have a tough day hookup ratio wise. I think I had, you know, 10 or 12 bites at least, and we only ended up putting 2 in the boat, so that hurts. I don't think it would have made a big giant difference, you know, maybe 12 pounds, 10, 12 pounds, something like that, you know, 2.5 pounders. So it wouldn't have made a big giant difference. Would I have gotten a check? I don't believe so, but you know, would have been a way better finish than that 134 out of 190. Anytime you're fishing, you know, those big tournaments and you weigh in 2 for 4 pounds, you're going to be in, you know, big trouble. So that was tough after a really fun first day, and you know, fishing my first Toyota and catching them okay, fishing against those guys. So but that's that. And now third tournament, where do we go? So third tournament of the year, we had a couple rainouts in that, so it wasn't until mid-August, and that was a Champlain BFL. And you can ask anyone who fished that tournament. I would highly, you know, I would definitely say that if you fish that tournament, that was probably at least the top 5 worst condition days you'll ever see bass fishing on these 20-foot bass boats. So it was crazy. I don't know, I don't want to say height wise, but you know, anywhere from 4 to 5 foot waves, you know, big giant waves, spearing waves all over the place, you know, completely filling up your cockpit with water. So it was tough. I didn't really have much. I had one area of reeds. Yeah, there's definitely a lot more water on this, dude.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh my God. You're gonna have to grab him.
Yeah?
Yeah. Grab him. Grab him, buddy. Grab him, buddy. Grab him, buddy. Get him in, buddy. Yes! Boom! Let's go. Nice job. Thank you, dude.
Yeah, number 5.
That's number 5, boys. Let's go. One stretch of bull rush.
There you go.
Let's go, baby! Number 1, boy. Dang good one. That, you know, usually I can do okay Champlain largemouth, but I didn't have much compared to sometimes what I usually have. So we had one stretch. I did have one really good one come on pin that definitely would have helped. You know, I weighed in like a 13-incher, which really hurt up there. You know, that's pretty much a 0 up there. So that tournament we ended up, let's see, where did we end up? We ended up 36 out of 83 boats. I had 14 pounds, 15 ounces, so 15 pounds with a 1 pounder. You trade that for a 4 pounder and you got a little bit of a better bag. You're gonna have a way better finish. But that's part of flipping. I don't have the exact setup, kind of a similar setup, same rod that I use up there. So in that BFL video, you can see in practice I was flipping fluorocarbon. But I decided to go to braid after practice just because I don't think those fish really care. I haven't had a problem catching them on braid and that stuff, even though it's clear water, but I don't really think they care. And dealing with heavy reeds and bull rush, you know, it's safer to be with that braid. So that setup's 50-pound Cortland Master braid, but I actually do flip it on more of a medium heavy rod. So I'll flip that on a Douglas DXC 745. So it's a real light flipping rod, but I'm only flipping a 1/2 ounce. You know, it's real efficient, real easy to flipping all day. You know, once you get into those heavy rods, 7.6, 7.11, and you're only flipping a 1/2 ounce, It's just not that efficient, and it can be a little annoying. So keep it on a medium heavy rod, hit them as hard as you can, and you're completely fine power wise. But I was flipping the rodent all day, I believe. So I was flipping that Strike King rodent, a beaver style bait, same thing as a sweet beaver, kind of like a D-bomb, but kind of a little subtler actually. Not, we don't really take the appendages off and just flip it just like that. Color really didn't make a difference. I think I was flipping green, I was flipping the Falcon Lake Crawl, which is that red and kind of brownish, and then I was even flipping a black and blue. So it wasn't really a color deal. Those northern largemouth, when you hit them in the head, they're gonna bite. So that's fun. Caught them flipping, had a really fun day. Ended up actually having some fish care problems, so we ended up weighing in. I think I was due in at 3:30. I think I weighed in more like 2. So cut an hour or so off, and just honestly happy to get in with all my fish alive and an okay bag, good for the points. Knew I wasn't going to win the tournament or anything like that with 15 pounds on Champlain, but happy to get in with my boat decently intact, my fish all alive, and caught an okay bag. So that was that tournament. Then where did we go? We went, so St. Lawrence BFL. So this was, I think, the worst tournament I've ever had in the BFLs. That was a disaster day, unfortunately. So pretty much got last place, 63rd out of 71, weighed in 1 fish on the St. Lawrence, a 1-pounder, 1.7. So really tough deal. That was sad, cost me a lot of money, a lot of time, and obviously absolutely bombed the tournament. But we'll be back up there and hopefully get some revenge on it. But so next derby is the September 14th, so mid-September, Potomac. So because we had a couple rainouts on Oneida and I don't know, Champlain or something, September 14th, September 15th. September 14th was just a regular BFL tournament. The next day, September 15th, was the super tournament. So not linked together at all weight wise. Usually that super tournament's a 2-day derby, where you're combining your weights, but 2 separate tournaments. So day 1 are just the regular BFL. I had, what did we have? Let's see. We had 12.5 pounds, and I ended up 13th out of 71 boats. And that was actually a little different. So I caught him early on a poppin' frog, kind of a quick limit, small limit. You're talking, maybe 10 pounds. Probably more like 9 pounds on a poppin' frog, but quick. So I felt really comfortable getting the limit frogging and fast. So it was setting up to be, I only had 12.5 pounds and came in 13th. So it was a tough derby. So got a limit frogging on mats with a poppin' frog. Kind of working that thing pretty fast. There should be some video of that. Or, I got a video for that tournament, so you guys can watch that if you want. But caught a limit on a frog early. And then an actual new deal for me down there was chatterbait. Let's see if I can get this rod. Yep. So I wasn't throwing this chatterbait. I'm throwing this right now down here in Florida. This is a 3/8 ounce jackhammer, but throwing this rod, same line, same deal. But I was actually throwing the 1/4 ounce mini max, and I was throwing that with the Zoom Z-Crawl as a trailer. So you can see in the video, throwing that white chartreuse, tying those, Z-Crawl chips and chartreuse.
Money doing shit that I don't ever use, or it looks good.
Right.
Didn't catch any fish, but he caught some fishermen. Got some.
No, that was grass.
Grass.
There's one.
That's a good one, dude. That's a good one. I hope that's a bass, man.
Oh, it is. It's a big one.
It's a bass. Yeah, 'cause now you get into a limit, dog.
Let's get him in the boat. Let's go, baby.
Dude, you get 5 back there. You know what the fuck? I got to change.
That's number 6.
I got to change.
Yeah, they're on that. This chatterbait pattern's good. But that 1/4 ounce mini max, I was fishing when the tide come down and those fish got sucked out of the mat. I would just kind of like you're cranking riprap or something like that, throwing a square bill on riprap or throwing a top water down riprap, kind of just line up parallel to those mats and big long cast right along the mat and fishing that little bit of outer milfoil. But that 1/4 ounce mini max almost fishes like a swim jig through it. So goes through it super, super easy. It's not aggressive. Obviously it has a little bit of a vibration, throws some water off. But almost fishing it like a swim jig, and they come up and eat that thing. And that bite was super good, super consistent for good quality, relatively good quality, you know, 2.5 to 3 pounders. And you know, it's pretty fast. You know, I was fishing them a lot of time when that tide sucked that water off the mats. Any little kind of point, any kind of little area that was getting a lot of current, relatively a lot of current on the grass, focusing on that and not covering much water, really just making, you know, usually I'm a guy that's on the trolling motor covering water and that kind of deal, but I was actually kind of slowing down, making the same cast, you know, quite a bit of times and catch them out of the grass on that 1/4 ounce mini max, or what's that 1/4 ounce jackhammer? I don't know. But a 1/4 ounce chatterbait, real small chatterbait, with that, like I said, that Z-Craw as a trailer, and it was sliding through that, you know, kind of thick milfoil, awesome, and they would just come up and lock that thing up. So that was fun. Kind of upgraded doing that on day 1, kind of got rid of all those popping frogfish, and then to get my big bite on day 1, I grabbed a big weight. And one thing I kind of regretted from that weekend was kind of spending too much time worrying about a limit. So day 1, I really didn't even find a flipping bite in practice at all. I kind of didn't want to wear out those chatterbait fish on day 1 because we had a tournament the next day, and you know, you catch 12.5 pounds, 13 pounds doing that chatterbait deal. I didn't really want to burn it up. So I kind of grabbed the big weight, big rod for maybe an hour, and I got one really good bite. Ended up putting him in the box and making a big call to get us to that 12.5 or so. Relatively big call. You know, we're still talking about 12 pounds. But that was a big call for the tournament. Got us up into a nice finish, and you know, that kind of deal. But that'll bring me into day 2, I guess. So day 2, pretty much the same conditions. One thing I definitely changed, I definitely put that frog down a lot quicker. Caught a couple little ones, but you know, I mean, I didn't really want to waste time fishing for little ones, especially when I got that one flipping bite. I was like, yeah, I mean, if I lock that big weight in my hand kind of for 8 hours, you know, I think I can get 5 bites and they're going to be better quality, and we can, you know, look to be more in that 15 to 17 pound range punching. But it was hard to, you know, it's just always hard to get off fish when you're doing okay catching them in a tough tournament. It's tough to go just lock that big weight in your hand, especially when you didn't practice it. You got one bite doing it, you don't really know if it's a fluke, but you know you can get the better quality bites doing that. So spent a little less time frogging, spent a little less time chatterbaiting, but we did pretty much end up catching our limit on that 1/4 ounce with that Z-Craw, kind of the same exact area that we didn't end up burning down on day 1. Kind of reloaded, or there was more fish there, and caught them up again for, I think, probably more like 12 or 13 pounds. And then I locked that big weight in my hand for probably more like 2 or 3 hours, probably 3 hours, and I got one really good bite, and then I think I caught 2 that didn't help. Maybe I called another time, not 100% sure, but one really good bite relatively, and that ended up putting me in a really good spot for that tournament.
There you go. There you go. There you go. You got a hog.
Thank you, Lord.
You want me to take the little one out for you?
What a bite! Not a giant, but
no. Look at the fucking cull. That's a giant cull. Look at the cull.
We ended up in the super tournament. Where did we end up? Where did we end up? We ended up 9th out of 73 with 13.5. So moved up a pound, moved up a couple places for that Sunday Derby. Got a top 10, which is fun. You know, it was a fun day. My buddy DJ also had a really good tournament, so that was really good for him, really good for us. Always good to, you know, when you're travel buddy and you do good, it's, you know, that's, can't really ask for much more. So that was fun. next derby was the Kerr Lake Regional. So 45 guys from each division. It's like 200 or so, 150 guys in each division. Top 45 go to the regional. So made the regional tournament, ended up 5th for Angler of the Year for the BFL Northeast, which was awesome. And you know, you never really realize it until the end of the year, you know, how big of a deal catching one fish on the St. Lawrence was. You know, I weigh in a decent limit on the St. Lawrence, and you know, that 5th is probably, I don't know if I would have won, I don't know how the points worked, don't know how far behind I was, but obviously would have done a hell of a lot better if I didn't weigh in 1 for 1 pound, got a last place. So if we caught 15, 18 pounds, something like that up there, we would have been in a great spot. But that's part of bass fishing. But still made the regional tournament, and never heard of Kerr Lake. Did a bunch of research. It looked like it didn't set up at all. Like, you know, I mean, for the guys that know me, you know, for the guys that don't know me, I'm a straight grass, shallow water guy. Barely even take the covers off my units and look around for fish like that. I'm all visual, fishing shallow. Kerr Lake, no grass. Reservoir, fluctuating reservoir, so you know, pretty much nothing like I've ever fished, to be honest with you guys. No idea what I was doing, but thankfully, and obviously not thankfully, you know, with all that hurricane damage and that, but for the fishing, for how it's set up for me, yeah, definitely not thankfully, but you get what I'm saying. For the fishing, that water come way up, so down there they have all these bushes. Compared to, you know, the Northeast, we don't really have bushes. We got pads, we got grass, we got all that kind of stuff. But they have straight up bushes that flood. And when that water comes way up, those fish get in the bushes. And that's a really fun deal when they're biting in there. So in practice, we kind of figured out an unbelievable, it's a great spinnerbait lake, I guess. Like, you pretty much go on YouTube and do a lot of research, and that spinnerbait plays there, especially when that water is super tall and in the bushes. So we found an awesome spinnerbait bite in practice. I mean, coming unglued out of the bushes for these things, you know. So I was throwing this is a little Bassman compact 3/8 ounce spinnerbait, but what an awesome little spinnerbait that thing is right there. You know, if you're fishing super shallow, making super short cast, roll casting, trying to get that thing in and out of cover, it's freaking great spinnerbait. So we were catching them really good in practice on a spinnerbait, and I mean, coming out of the bushes, coming unglued like you see on a Bassmaster video, just freaking unglued. I've never experienced, honestly, a spinnerbait bite like that. So pretty much had one rod tied on going to the tournament, and it was that little dude right there. Thought we were gonna smash him on that. And to be honest, not exactly sure what changed. Pressure, conditions were pretty much similar. You know, it wasn't like, the thing is with that lake, it's like up north, it's like, okay, that wind blowing hard out of the northeast, and you know, you got overcast, you got some rain, and it looks like a spinnerbait day. You roll that thing over milfoil, and you know, they're gonna come up and slackline that spinnerbait. But it's not like that down there. You throw that spinnerbait, high sun, no wind, slick calm, 92 degrees, and I guess they still bite it. So that was that. But day one, they definitely came off that little dude right there. So like I said, not exactly sure what happened. So unfortunately, we had a really bad day one. Let's see what we had. Day one, spinnerbait day. We had 3 fish for 7.5 pounds spinnerbaiting. And the sad part about that deal too was third cast. Relatively big one for there, you know, in this tournament was 3 pounds. So 3 pounder came up and locked that thing up. Let's go. Boom, baby. Come on, baby. Solid one. Like, I was like, okay, it's on, we're good. And it's just tough to make an adjustment when you had such a good practice running one thing, and then your third cast of the day is a really quality fish on that same exact deal. So unfortunately, just locked this thing in my hand the whole entire day, made hundreds of casts with that spinnerbait around all great looking stuff, and they just didn't bite it. Unfortunately, didn't make that adjustment, and all I had to do was pick this thing up right here. When in doubt, you just pick that sweet beaver up. And like I said, I'm not really, never fished bushes in my life, but all I had to do was flip that thing in the bush, and we would have had a really, really good tournament. So they were still there, they didn't leave, they just didn't want that spinnerbait anymore, but I'll tell you, they wanted that thing. So day one went by, like I said, 7.5 pounds for 3 fish. Day 2 come along, and pretty much the exact opposite deal is I had 1 bait tied on, needed 1 rod. Threw that thing all day, caught the crap out of them, relatively flipping. And it was a super fun day flipping bushes. Pretty much my first time ever doing it, and it's almost like punching, you know, down here in Florida or, you know, on Champlain flipping reeds. It's kind of the similar style of fishing, exactly what I love to do, and it's just sad because that's all I had to do day 1. But day 2 on that little sweet beaver with that 1/4 ounce, what did we have? Day 2, we had 1301, which was the 3rd biggest bag of the day. 1301, 3rd biggest bag of the day down there on Kerr Lake in the regional, and caught them all flipping. Unfortunately, even though we made a good adjustment going into day 2, I made one really, really big error. You know, flipping this heavy cover, heavy brush all day, you got to be retying. Especially, even if you think about it for a sec, you better retie, because you know, you never know when you're going to dob into one that's, you know, 4+ pounds and this heavy thick stuff. But yeah, so I was flipping, come out, had to fight my beaver out of a tree for a sec, and I was like, oh, I probably should retie. Definitely retie. Thought it twice. Come up on this beautiful isolated tree, you know, perfect depth, right on a hard bank, you know, 4 to 6 foot of water on it. It's like, there could be a good one. Like, in my head coming up to it, that's a really high percentage, isolated, good looking deal. Flip in there without retying, and I guess the deal is, you know, the locals were saying it too, is like we kind of experienced it from catching a couple good ones, is those bigger ones, they don't thump it. So they just kind of pick that thing up and slowly swim at the boat, slowly swim out to deep water, slowly, you know, swim back to the bank. But I flip in there, that line, start walking right towards the boat. I reel down, try and break my rod on them, and whole rod ricochet, snap right off. See the side of the fish not come out of the water, but you know, right to the, you know, it was that wide. It was 4+ pounder, which was absolute gold in that tournament. So broke off a 4+, ended up being able to keep my head in it. You know, it's when that flipping bite's good, I'm still gonna flip and be happy about it, even though, you know, that's just a learning mistake there. You know, I was happy to learn from it. Always retie around that heavy stuff. We just don't fish a lot of heavy, hard stuff. You know, we fish the heavy grass and all that, but it's not really retied stuff, especially when you're flipping 50 to 65 pound master braid. So when you're flipping that fluorocarbon around that brush and all around those bushes, you better be retying, you know, multiple times a day. So that hurt, but we ended up doing okay in that derby. Like I said, we had the 3rd biggest bag of the day at I think close to 200 boats, 160 boats. That big bag on day 2 pretty much moved me from, I don't know, probably 100 spots. You know, had 7 pounds on day 1, big bag on day 2, ended up 21st in the tournament at 160 boats. So I was super happy to bounce back and catch a really good bag. Like I said, that big one that broke off definitely hurt, but that's part of bass fishing, especially when you're fishing in this heavy stuff flipping. But yeah, 21st out of 160 in the last tournament of the year. You know, I'll take it, especially after such a bad day 1. Happy with the adjustment and that whole deal. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys even made it this far in the video, but if you guys did, I appreciate the heck out of it. Just kind of wanted to give everyone a rundown of my tournament season. Definitely can't complain about it. You know, obviously tournament fishing is there's a lot that goes into it, you know, but you can't complain about a decent year. And, you know, already excited to get back up there and have another go at it. Hopefully going to be able to fish all the Toyotas this year. Last year I was supposed to fish them all, but my code dropped out of the Champlain tournament, and then I couldn't get another code, so I didn't get in that one because of, you know, code deal. I was on the wait list because my code dropped out, which is, it is what it is. But that's that. And then yeah, hopefully fishing, you know, the Toyota Northern Series, and hopefully fishing that BFL Northeast Series again. Bunch of fun fishing with a couple buddies. So but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like I said, if you guys made it this far, listen to me freaking yap about tournament fishing, I appreciate the heck out of it. But yeah, we got some more stuff coming, and hopefully more fish. You don't have to listen to me talk the whole time. But yeah, appreciate it, guys. And if you guys are interested in any of this tackle, you know, we sell it at the shop, got it on our website, so it's all good stuff, great products. Need any suggestions or anything, you know, come by or shoot me a DM. We help you out and do the best we can for you. So appreciate the heck out of it, guys, and see you on the next one.